Narcissistic abuse is somewhat of a hot topic in the online coaching community. However, discussion of such largely focuses on abuse victims or otherwise deriding those who stand in the spotlight of media attention for having the disorder despite an incredibly limited pool of evidence. What these online personalities often fail to recognise, however, is that there are a few traits more narcissistic than a tendency to punch down. Narcissism, like so many disorders in this modern age, works on a sliding scale. While the effects of such have a definite non-linear correlation to behaviour on the higher end, we all exist at a point upon it. My name is Sophia Vandermeer. I'm a mind and wellbeing coach, author, martial art instructor, cognitive behavioural specialist and NLP practitioner. In this week's review, or r/NPD, we'll be assessing two more cases from those who wish to diminish their narcissistic traits or otherwise wish to mitigate the disorder's effects. For a more in-depth explanation of the subreddit, a link to our first episode will be provided in the description. Our first post comes from user Yellowflower99, who posts, "I have never made a single close friend in my life." So I've never made a single close friend in my life, they say. I have some friends, but none of them are close to me at all. Anyone else had this experience? I'm unrelatable, volatile, uncomfortable, toxic, and I don't get close to people or allow myself to feel vulnerable. I'm in my mid-20s and I don't think I'll ever have a best friend besides my romantic partner. I don't particularly like other people. I've always felt different and misunderstood by them. Comment: I have empathy for others, but only in a cognitive sort of way, so I never really feel connected or like I'm in the same mind space as the person I'm talking to. People are just objects to me until they're not, and they remain just objects until they do. Something that benefits me or gives me what I want, even if I don't know what they're doing for me. Now here we look at closeness, and it's an ill-defined concept at the best of times. Spouses make a pact to trust with one another many times over the course of a relationship and a marriage, and unless you reside in the top percentile of income earners, there's a chance you're going to divorce over 50%. Even of those who officially don't divorce, their marriage isn't guaranteed not to fall apart. In reality, the failure of this closeness exceeds even these prevalent statistics. I understand that in this case the user is looking for friendship rather than a romantic relationship. I am willing to guess that this pursuit may even be what brought them to this subreddit to begin with, in search of like-minded individuals. But I implore you to question your definition of closeness. True understanding, if it is to be defined as feeling as the other does, is an impossibility. A perfect empathy of that nature cannot exist. As the comment we read touches on, narcissists can have a cognitive empathy, an understanding of emotion, even if only in an academic or physical sense. Narcissists are unlikely to be empathized with by other narcissists for this reason. Equally, they will struggle to empathize with others. The smothering isolation that you feel isn't a failure on your part, is a byproduct of shooting for the moon and hoping to land amongst the stars. Without the realization that the stars are forever distant, it is at the press of a void. The physical outcome of closeness is shared experience. It is courtesy and it is kindness, all of which you still have. You can spend time with others as you would the fantasy of closeness. You can rely on others as you build trust and grow. But no one is close in the manner you imagine. You describe yourself as unrelatable, volatile, uncomfortable, toxic, and not wanting to be vulnerable. These things are behaviours and you are responsible for them. However, you can change the parts you mentioned, but only through practice. Like any skill, this is a step-by-step process with swings and roundabouts. To achieve closer relationships, though, there will need to be an active effort of putting yourself out there. I'm not aiming to provide you with a hug box, and neither is this subreddit, as you'll see our next case. So the next case is by Jeff Boomhow, 51, and he posts, "Identifying. How can one identify narcissism if they believe their ego and confidence goes beyond normal? I have a partner who I always compete with and try to be smarter than, and I always want to be the smartest person in the room. I also put down those who try to be smarter than me." Now the comment says, healthy competition is one thing, but putting down others is toxic and childish. If you're as smart as you think you are and secure within yourself, you wouldn't feel the need to bring others down. It's definitely a narcissistic trait, but it doesn't make you a narcissist in itself. To understand what narcissism is or narcissistic personality disorders, check out Eleanor Greenberg on Quora, as she has a lot of intriguing and eye-opening comments. Now, the original poster's first reply was, sorry if that was harsh, but yes, it's childish. I also want to distinguish traits versus disorder. The original poster's second reply, even see your comment about, if I'm really that smart to me, I'm like, well, he didn't deny it. I was smart, so I could actually be a genius. Third reply, by the same original poster, the way I wrote is, the literacy makes me think you didn't deny it because you saw I was smart. This was followed by a fourth reply, everyone downvotes like I'm a dick. Well, maybe that is in the sub I'm trying to reach. And his fifth reply, narcissists are dicks, and you'll downvote their thoughts through this sub. Dang. What stands out to me, as likely as it does for you, are the numerous replies provided by the original poster. However, in this case, his attempts to justify his responses and subsequent negative opinions are a form of vindication. Full-blown narcissists rarely, if ever, can admit fault. And while the IP doesn't go as far as that, he attempts, unlike the silent detractors who act only in downvotes, to hold a conversation, even if vitriolic in nature. They're in recognition of less than being perfect. NPD needs to meet most of the 9 criteria of the DSM, but having many of the traits still displays narcissism that will really determine if where on the spectrum they sit, and it will be in their determination to have to want to sincerely change, to recognise others' feelings and respect that there is a need to be understood. While this need to be justified is a narcissistic trait, there is naivety with which it is enacted, which suggests a lesser case of the disorder. The OP doesn't attempt a facade of confidence, and the comments quickly devolve into a raving. However, the comments do recognise that they aren't being received well, and there's enough self-awareness to stop or to suggest that there's some small voice within the OP telling him to go no further. Full-blown narcissists can't help the way they act. This individual can. He's making a choice. What I suggest for you then is to not fire back the comment attempts to be helpful. It is a criticism, but a constructive one. Narcissists want to be viewed, as this post states, as the smartest person in the room. Bringing emotion into an argument without controlling it won't do that. You can't consider the emotions of others, consider your own. Do you want others to view you as an ill-composed collection of words, or would it be better for them to see you as a thought-out individual?